So today I've just literally come out for 2 or 3 hours at my very local woods. The noise is basically this. The River Gelt. We've had a lot of rain the last probably week or two, and that's why that's so noisy and flowing so well. And it's interesting, I don't know whether it shows on the camera or not, but the foam that's being made here, the white is almost like a brownie colour, and you can probably see it more in the water down there, that it's very peaty soil in this part of Cumbria, so most of the water tends to be that peaty colour. So my initial thing was to come in here. I knew it was going to be very dark. It's certainly here, it's light, far lighter than I thought it was going to be. And I was coming around, looking around for some fungi to try and picture. And really the first big part, I think I found one sort of crushed one. And the biggest problem is it's all on the ground. The whole ground is, I mean, this is fairly light compared to where I've been walking, is covered, it's just covered in leaves. Just so many leaves that it's hard to spot the fungi. But I've come down to this last bit, and interesting, we've got the path closed there. Yeah, I've seen people go walking down there. And I've come down to this part and constantly hunting around for fungi, and I did actually come across some. The first ones I found were these large ones, which are really past their date and probably don't make a lot photographically. And I do have another one down there next to my rucksack. And I've also seen some large ones like that, which are all really black and mushy, which have long gone past their date. But then I started coming across these, and I've had to basically do a bit of gardening on there to reveal them. I mean, this is probably a good example there of, and that's I've partially uncovered from the leaves as well, that one there. But the first one I've actually photographed is this little one here, where I have, in actual fact, took the picture from as low as possible down to shoot up from underneath. And I've just been playing around with taking pictures of this one. Not the best condition, but the issue is the lighting. So I've got one light on my tripod over the top here, which is a very, very warm light. 2,500 Kelvin on there, just to give it a little bit of extra light on there. And I've been experimenting with this bottom light to try and, because it's literally totally dark underneath, to try and get some light in there. And I did try initially with the 2,500 Kelvin like with this one, but I think it's just too yellow. And you do have to experiment on this. And the good thing about these lights, I can up it as far as I like. I mean, I can go right up to, I think it's about 8,500 Kelvin, so it's total daylight. And I've just inched it up a little bit. I have photographed these top ones as well. Not so sure about this one. I just do not like this one. And I'm gonna have a look to see what this one looks with the camera as well. Because again, I think looking from underneath will actually look a lot nicer. I just think these bigger mushrooms are actually a lot harder to capture, really, what's so dramatic about them, especially when you're doing macro photography. I mean, I've got the camera back quite a bit here. My fill-in lights here, got this on 5000K and maximum brightness, because all in here was just so dark without it. I mean, you can probably just see the difference that the light makes when I put my hand in front of it, and on the actual image that makes a massive difference. Hopefully you can see here, this is the carpet of leaves which I've mostly been walking through, and to try and spot any mushrooms up here is almost impossible. You can have an insight here as to what the River Gelt was like. The way it's carved through all the rocks over the centuries. really does look nice, and you can see down the bottom there now that really peaty brown colour water. I did spot some mushrooms up here. There's 2 or 3 of those sort of red disc ones, and then also some very, very old ones which are long past their date. There's remains of one of the ones that I spotted. There is a better one just up here, just here, which is what I'm going to be concentrating on. And you get a lot of these large ones which are certainly well past their date. In actual fact, I've just spotted some smaller ones there which I might look at as well. I've been playing with a little bit of composition here, as well as, more importantly, shutter speeds, and I've been trying various things from 1/50th of a second, 1/40th, 1/30th, 1/10th. I'm really not sure how I like the water. I mean, this is 1/40th of a second, and you do get a bit of motion blur in there, but you don't necessarily get so much of the sharpness. And I've even tried all the way up to, say, like 1 second, where you get that really almost like cotton wool type water, which is really nice. But it's nice if it's got a combination of the two. But when you watch the water in there, the important thing is I want to get this piece in the corner here where the water is circling around all the time and then it's being thrown out. But if you watch the water every now and then, it's probably happens about once every second that you get plumes of water sort of being thrown up in the air. So you need a reasonably slow shutter speed to catch some motion blur in the water, but you want a fast enough shutter speed to catch those spurts of water that are going in the air. And I think the only way I can do that is if I stick the camera on continuous shooting to take, say, like 10, 20 pictures over the course of probably 1 or 2 seconds, and then try and choose the best one that I got from there. What I want to do next is I've got a fallen tree here, literally on there. I want to try and make use of this end branch to look down the water here and catch it that way. I'm not sure how well I got on with using the fallen tree here as foreground for the waterfall. I just think that possibly it's getting too dark now. There's really not much light down here, and I'm not sure whether a stacked image would work better. Although I've got blue skies actually appearing now, the light is really starting to go. So I think what I'm going to do is just have a wander around, have a scout to see what else is about, and maybe pop back here another weekend. So thanks a lot for watching.